I want to start off with a very famous story of the Ramban, and he had a Talmud, Avner. Everybody knows the story, but I'm going to say it over anyways. The story is that he had a Talmud who was a Meirid against Rebbeinu Shalom, and on came Yom Kippur, so he shechted I don't know if he shechted it, he took a pig and he ate it, and he did as many averos as he could, and so it was over 5 lavin, I'm not sure exactly what it was, his chayav kares. And so he went to the Ramban and he told him all the things that he did, and Ramban told him, like, why are you such a meirid in Rebbeinu Shalom? So he told him, he said that it's your fault, the Ramban. He said, why is it my fault? He said, because you are the one who told me that because of me, you told me that in Parshas Hazinu it says everything that's in the Bria, that's in the entire world, that's happened and that will happen, and my name wasn't there. My name was Avner, and it wasn't in the Parsha, wasn't Merumas any place. Therefore, I went off because what you told me wasn't true. Lamaisa, he came to the Ramban now and said, no, if it's there, show me. So Ramban went into a corner and he davened, and Rebbeinu Shalom was megala to him that there's one pasuk, which I had to print it out, but I forgot what it was, that the third letter of each word in that pasuk spelled out the word Avner. And when the Talmud saw this, so he felt very bad, and he took a boat, and he was going to go into the middle of the ocean and drown with Tahim Rabbah. And he got drowned in the ocean, and then he came back to the Ramban in a dream, and he said, like, what should I do? I need you to be Meichel me. So the Ramban said, okay, I'm going to Meichel you. And the story says that afterwards he only had to go through 12 months of Gehenna, otherwise he would have been there forever. So he thanked the Ramban very much that he only had to be in Gehenna for 12 months. I wanted to be meisiv to that story. What's the name Avner? As we've learned, Kavanas Chanukah, that the 2 letters Nun Reish is Gematria 250, which is Keneged Gimel Zivugim, which is the total Gematria of Havaya Eke, Havaya Adnos, and Havaya Elekim, which is 3 Yichudim, which is considered a Shleimus, which is the Kavanah of HaMavarech Es Ama Yisrael Bashalom, that's considered whole, complete. And the first 2 Isius of the word Avner is Aleph and Beis is 3, as you know, which is Meram is the Gimel Zivugim, and the Nun Reish is what the total of the Gimel Zivugim are, so it's Avner. Just stop. That's story A. Story B, you could say it's Chalaimus, which it actually was, but one night I couldn't sleep and I had this dream that I had a choice to either I get $1 million or I get a Vort. I was thinking, how about do you take the $1 million? What kind of question is that, right? But then I was thinking very stark, and I said, if I take the $1 million, I'll probably need the $1 million. I don't need the $1 million now, so I'm better off not taking the $1 million because then I won't need it. So this is the Vort. You tell me if you think it's worth $1 million. So I said last time, I mentioned about Hashem U'elikim. We said, what is the kavanah? One of the kavanas, I should say, of Hashem U'elikim. We say that Hashem is Rachamim, and we want to bring it over, the Elikim is the din, and we want to be Mamtik the din, so we take the Havaya, which is Rachamim, and we put in the Hu, Hashem, Hu, Ha'elikim, and the Hu, which is Gematria 12, and 12 plus 1, Imah Kailel is 13, which is the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. So by taking the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, gives us the ability to bring over from the Shem Havaya to the Shem Elikim to be Mamtik the Din. This is what I said last time. So now I wanted to be meisif on it. So a few things. First of all, we know that we speak about in Parshas Chumash Bereshis, speak about the Milchama between the 4 kings and the 5 kings, right? And so the 4 kings beat the 5, right? And then Avram came and fixed everything. But you see that the 4 kings is connected 4 Isiyas Havaya, And the 5 is connected 5 Isias of Shem Elikim. And you see that even though it's less, there's 4 Isias in Havaya, so connected the 5 Isias in Elikim. So but the proper Kavanah, the Havaya is Minatzeach over the Elikim. So you see that Mamish has the koyach to be mounting it from this Muhammad originally of the 4 kings over the 5 kings. That's 1. 2 is that in the Beis HaMikdash, so normally the Kohen Gadol did the Avodah with how many begadim? 8 begadim. And Yom Kippur, since he brought down that he shouldn't have gaiva, right? So he took off the Shemaina begadim, which also had Zahav in it, and the Zahav is Meram is Din. So we didn't want him to do the Avodah when he was wearing gold, which is also a Zecher for the Egel, which is why ladies don't wear gold. So he only wore Big Day Lavan, right? Which is the Arba Begadim of the Kohen Hedyet. So first of all, the Lavan is Meram is Rachamim. And so what do you see there also? That how many Begadim did he wear? 4 Keneged Dalet Isias Havaya. How does that fit in? What's the din on Yom Kippur? So we have 5 tefillas representing the din, right? We also have Chamisha Inuyim, right? Which is also representing the din. So you have the 4 Isias Havaya, the 4 Big Day Lavan of the Kohen Gadol being mamtik the din by taking in the 5 tefillas and the 5 Inuyim of the Avodah of Yom Kippur, which is Be'etzem Midas Hadin. And what's the Avodah? We mamtik that din. So like this, you have everything coming together as a Hamtaka in the din. And how do you see what the end result is? We see that the end result is that what happens afterwards, as you know, everybody knows, we're learning it now, that Sukkot is a continuation of the Seis Yemei Tshuva, right? First is the 10 days of Din, right? And then comes the Yichud, which is the Sukkah, which there's 2 parts to Sukkah. One part, as you know, is the Sukkah itself, which is represented by the Armakif, and the other part is the Lulav and Esrig, the Dalet Minim, which is represented by the Pnimius. So how many Minim are we taking on Sukkot? 4 Minim, which is Keneged Dalet Isias Havaya. And what happens when a king wins the war? He goes and he plants a flag in that area and he walks around with his flags showing off that he won the war. So on Sukkot we're kind of doing the same thing, that we're walking around with our Lulav and our Esrig, and it's basically we're making as if we have a flag, and the flag is being miramis that we were minatzeach the din of Yom Kippur. And now, so we're showing it off again. It's showing us that the 4 Dalet Isias Havaya were mizgaber, and therefore we're now zoicher that we came out zakai from the Yemei Hadin. You see it in many other things also, that the 4 is a mizgaber over the 5, and when we say Hashem Hu Elokim, so how many times do we say it? We say it 7 times. What's before that? Before that is Shema Yisrael once, Baruch Shem Kvay Malchusai 3 times. So when you talk about Sfiras, so the Shema Yisrael, it would be the Kesed that's Oila al Gabeim. So we're not counting it as part of it, right? Because it's totally Behela. The Baruch Shem Kvay Malchusai is Keneged the Gimel Rishayna, that we say it 3 times, right? Because that also, it's B'machshava Talia, all right, B'diba Talia, it's not B'maisa Talia, and therefore it's there, but it's not, it's there as the Shirish, but it's not there as like the Asiya. Masha Enkein, the Zayin Tachtainim, which is our world. So therefore we're saying Hashem Hu Elokim is Keneged the Zayin Tachtainim, which is the Vav and the Hey of the Shem Havaya, Hashem Hu Elokim, right? And we are also see that we're mounting it through that. Another thing that we see in the Miluyim of the Shemus, so we have, typically there's a Yud, there's a Hey, and there's a Aleph, right? And we know also that a vav, which represents the shisha tzavis, I should say, and every vav is really just a longer yud, right? So the vav, so as you know, that la'asid lavai, the shem havaya will not be shem havaya. Like we know, we say, Bayoimahu yiyeh Hashem echad u'shmoi echad. So instead of it being Yud K, Vav K, it'll be Yud K, Yud K. As Hashem echad u'shmoi echad, it's the same thing. So when we say the Hashem Hu Ha'Elekim, so it's the Miluyim. We're taking the Gimel Miluyim, the Hey, the Vav, and the Aleph. Even though the Vav is not really a Milui, but it's really an extension of the Yud. And the Raya is because since now we're saying Hashem Hu Ha'Elekim is a tefillah of la asid, right? So the asid will be that by Yom Ahu, that'll always be, it'll be the each one of the different millions madregas where how we'll get to the asid lavai, and it'll be Hashem Echad U'Shmai Echad. Other thing I just wanted to mention as a sidebar, as we know that Yemei Hadin, which is the 10 Seres Yemei Tshuva, is Keneged Yitzchak, because Yitzchak is Yira, which is Din, and Din is Bakese L'Yom Chagenu, it's hidden. When a person has a tzara, right, or he has a good thing happening, he got the $1 million, right? So, and he has a good thing, so we don't know what cheshbainis are. If he has a tzara, so there's a silver lining that he'll get more schar later on when he comes to Ilam HaEmes. And he has too much good, we're taking away from his schar, right? So that's what it says, Oz Yemale Sachaik Pina, right? That later on, L'Asid Lavai will be filled with Schaik. And you see that what was the reason why Yitzchak was called Yitzchak? Because Schaik Asali Elekim. So you see a raya that the Schaik is Af L'Asid Lavai, and everything that happened by Yitzchak, that whole midah of Yira, is Al Piha Asid. So even though we daven very stark that we should have a good year, and we should make a lot of money and have good children and everything good, but in addition to that is tefillah afla asid, that we should be zeicher to be able to say tzadikim yoshvim v'adreseim v'resheim v'nenim mizav hashchina la'asid lavai. So what we're davening for is not only high alma, which everybody thinks we are, but we're also, and even maybe even more so, we're davening for la'asid lavai. May we all be zeicher to such a place that we could sit in Olam Habriya and then at Mizav Hashchina.